So I'm here with my friend April today, and we're talking a little bit about what does it feel like to be a guest at a church on a Sunday morning. And I want you just to imagine with me for a minute that you've been invited by a friend to come to their home to maybe share a meal, do a cup of coffee, and just picture yourself there at your house getting ready. You're preparing and you're getting the kids ready to go. Maybe you put their address in your phone and you're ready to go. And so when you get there, you pull up, you find the front door, and there's a little bit of uncertainty because you're thinking about, how am I going to be treated? I don't really know these people that well. There's a lot of things going on in your mind. When you knock on the door, to your surprise, you get a very warm welcome, maybe a hug, a handshake, and they show you where the restroom is. When you come back out, maybe they say, hey, have a seat on the couch, just hang out for a little while, and all of a sudden they disappear. And they're over there hanging out with their friends, and they're laughing and talking with people they already know. And then you're just sitting there looking at your phone or maybe reading a magazine. Now, we'd never intentionally do something like that to someone who's a first-time guest or a second or third-time guest at our church, but it often happens. We wouldn't intentionally want people to feel that way, but many times people receive a greeting, they get the handout for the morning worship, and then they're just kind of left alone, wandering around, wondering what's next, and feeling like they don't know anyone. One other thing that's important is not just that we make people feel welcome on the way in, but we need to make people feel welcome on the way out. We need to be hosts that says to someone when they're leaving, we're glad you came, we hope you'll come back, let's get together and do this again soon. We would do that with people who were coming to our house. We need to do that with people who are coming to our church home and have honored us by being a part of a worship service with our church family. So we've got just a little tool here that we want to share with you that will kind of help you to know how to be a good host, how to make people feel welcome when they come into our church home and our church family. So April's going to talk to you about the first part of what we call LineUp.
So the first thing that you're wanting to do is to look for someone that you don't know. Now, I know a lot of you, what you're thinking right now is the same thing I've thought a lot of different times, which is, what if I think I don't know them, but I really have met them before? That might be awkward. Well, let me tell you how to get around that. If you think you don't know them, just walk up to them, introduce yourself, and say, hey, how long have you been at our church? Really quick and easy way to open up the door to a conversation without making them feel like, hey, we've met before and you don't remember me. So introduce yourself and, hey, how long have you been at Oasis? Pretty easy to do, and it's a great way to open up the conversation.
Yeah, and I love that question, how long have you been
Yeah.
at Oasis? Because we never really know what to say. So we're here, we're looking for someone, we're going to introduce ourselves to them. And then another thing to think about is, hey, we never want someone to sit alone. We never want somebody left on that couch by themselves just looking at their phone or reading a magazine or whatever. So we want to always, every Sunday, be looking for someone new that might be by themselves. You know what this is going to take. You're going to have to be okay with not sitting in the same place every week and not sitting with the same people every week. Let's just remember that, hey, people who've already been here for a while, they know somebody. They're connected to someone. And when someone comes to our home, we would never leave them alone while we were in another room just hanging out with people that we already knew. So that's a good thing to remember. Also, just engage people in conversation. You know, you can ask them some simple questions like, where do you live? Where do you work? Where do your kids go to school? You can just ask them, what do you enjoy doing? And so there's just simple questions like that that get the ball rolling, that make people feel comfortable. You can tell them a little bit about yourself. But one of the things in that conversation I'm always looking for is, when I hear where they live, do I know someone already in our church family that lives in that area that I can connect them to? Do they enjoy doing something that someone else in the church does? If I hear about a guy who likes to play golf, I think, who are the golfers in our church, and I introduce them to that person. So a good host does things like that.
Yeah. The next thing you can do is once you've engaged in that conversation, take it a step further. Use the newcomer's dinner to give the conversation some purpose beyond just being friendly. If you're not sure when the next newcomer's dinner is, it's always listed at the Connect tent. You can always find the next date there. And the newcomer's dinner is really important to guests because it's going to be how they find out how they can connect at Oasis. It's about them and their journey into small groups, their journey into ministries, their journey getting to know our staff and our leaders. It's a great thing. So always use the newcomer's dinner every single time you talk to a guest. And finally, don't let things slide as the service ends, okay? So when the service is over, we're tired, we've worshiped, we have been in prayer, we have been social most of the morning, we're tired, but don't let it slide just yet. I want you to practice the 3-10 rule. That means within the first 10 minutes of the service, within the first 10 minutes of the end of the service, talking to at least 3 people you don't know. So 3 people you don't know before the first 10 minutes of the end of the service is over. So as soon as the host says, hey, you're dismissed, go find 3 people that you don't know and talk to them. Your regular friends, the other members at your church, they're going to be hanging out for longer than 10 minutes. You'll get a chance to visit with them, but the guests won't. And so we want to take advantage of that first 10 minutes after the host dismissed the service to talk to at least 3 people we don't know.
Yeah, I love that. That is a great, that 3-10 principle is awesome because really, we want to try to help people slow down a little bit so that we can get to know them. And if all of us think about who are 3 people that I could talk to that I don't know in the last 10 minutes before we get out of here, what an awesome opportunity that's going to be. So, hey, just remember this. When people come to our church home and they honor us with their presence, just remember, no matter who it is, there's a level of uncertainty. They're a little bit uncomfortable. And not just a few people in our church, but all of us need to see ourselves as hosts. Not just our connection team, not just our greeters, our hospitality people, but every single one of us needs to say, hey, I'm a host today. How can I make people that I don't know feel welcomed, loved, and to make sure that we'd like for them to come back and be our guest again in a future time. Thank you so much for listening to us today. I hope this tool will help. Remember to line up and to help people to feel welcome at your church.